We're staying at Disney's Pop Century Resort.
Is Pop Century actually the best value for your money of any Disney resort? Because when you look at where it's located, how easy it is to get to 2 of the parks on the Skyliner, and how much fun the theming is, this resort can make a lot of sense for the right kind of Disney trip. By the end of this video, you'll know whether or not Pop Century is really the best value for your Disney trip. Pop Century is one of Disney's value resorts, built entirely around nostalgia, walking you through the decades from the 1950s all the way through the 1990s. Everything here is oversized, colorful, and fun. Guest rooms sleep up to 4. You've got standard and preferred locations, and rack rates range from around $180 to over $300 depending on the season. Discounts sometimes pop up, but not always, which is why the Skyliner is the real game changer.
All right, so we are headed to the Skyliner station, and that is one of the biggest things that sets Pop Century apart from the other values. Actually, the biggest thing, because you can use the Skyliner to get to EPCOT or Hollywood Studios. I love the Skyliner. I'd say we've been on it 100 times, and 98 of them has been like smooth sailing. There's been a couple times we've got stuck a little bit, but never for more than a couple minutes. But it's definitely, I think it's my favorite Disney transportation. So I'm excited to get on it this morning.
For your safety, please remain seated, supervise children, and refrain from smoking in the cabin. Thank you.
Relax and enjoy the most magical flight on Earth.
I think you can put 10 people in these cabins. So we've got one to ourselves this morning. And also, even though the ones with the characters, the screen prints with the characters are so cool to look at, when you're riding in them, you can't see out as well. So we got one that doesn't have the screen print, and as you can see clearly out of the cabin. So I kind of like to look at the ones with the characters, but I like to ride in the ones that don't have the print.
The theming is a huge part of what makes Pop Century so popular. The resort leans hard into nostalgia, turning the decades into something that's colorful, playful, and just fun to walk through.
If you've never been to Pop Century, the theming is really cool, especially if you are nostalgia geeks like Brandon and I, because you've got the theme being 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s decades. So we love that here. We love all the nostalgia that reminds us of our childhood and of historical events that we know about from before we were born. So the theming's so fun.
Walking into the back of Classic Hall, you're really stepping into the heart of Pop Century. This is where everything connects, from food and shopping to the arcade. And if you walk out the front of the building, that's where you'll find the bus transportation, with buses running to Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Disney Springs, and the water parks.
Stepping back inside Classic Hall, this is where you'll find the arcade and Everything Pop. Everything Pop is both the gift shop and the food court, so this is really the main hub for grabbing souvenirs, food, and drinks during your stay.
That's cute. They're pretty colors. I like them. I need the candy cane bag. Thought it might smell like peppermint. I don't think it does. It's like my ice cream. My bag, the Beach Club bag, smells like ice cream.
The Everything Pop food court is tucked in behind the gift shop, which is where I found Krista fueling up.
A little caffeine replenishment coming to get a second win.
For a resort like Pop Century, the food court really matters because most people staying here are spending full days in the parks and just want something quick and reliable when they're back at the resort. Everything Pop serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a lot of guests eat breakfast here before heading out for the day. The one thing to note is it does close at 11, so if you're doing really late park nights, it's not always an option when you get back. While we were here, we grabbed dinner one night and kept it simple. I ordered the gluten-free chicken fingers, which I almost always get when they're available. They're offered at several quick service locations on property, and they're consistently good. Brandon went with the pizza, which is very much value resort food court pizza. It's not a highlight, but it's filling, and it does the job after a long park day. This isn't a reason to stay at Pop, but it absolutely supports the kind of trip Pop is best for.
Mid-afternoon, Krista and I took a break at Pedals, the pool bar here at Pop Century, and honestly, it was exactly what we needed. Good drinks, great service, and a really easy place to slow things down for a bit.
Pedals Pool Bar here at Pop Century, and I got the watermelon spritz. It's a little spicy. The bartender, he was so good. Alan is his name, and he did tell us he works at multiple locations around Disney, but he was great. And I told him I don't want too spicy, so I got the chili rim, and then he just gave me the jalapeno as a garnishment, and I can kind of taste the flavor, but it's really good. It's sour with like a tiny bit of spice and some watermelon flavor. Very good drink from Pedals. Cheers.
The main pool here is the Hippy Dippy Pool, located between the 60s buildings, which is why most of the preferred rooms are in this area, along with some of the closest 50s and 70s buildings. But Pop also has two quieter pools, the bowling pin pool in the 50s section and the computer pool in the 90s, which gives you solid alternatives if you want something a little less crowded.
There's a walking path around Hourglass Lake with signs marking every year from 1950 through 1999, each one highlighting moments from that year. We always enjoy walking this loop when we're at Pop. It's scenic, relaxed, and the signs are a fun way to take it all in.
If this video is helpful or entertaining, please hit like and subscribe so you don't miss future travel videos that help you decide what actually makes sense for your trip. Before we get to our final thoughts, let's go back to check-in and walk through the room we stayed in, because this is where you really decide if the price trade-off works for you. We'll show you the location, the space itself, what works well, and what you should know before booking.
So when we checked into Pop Century, I was excited because we got the 50s section. And if you watched our Halloween episode, our Halloween party episode, you know that Brandon and I dressed as Lady and the Tramp. So nowhere else on property can you see a giant, larger than life Lady and the Tramp icon. And we got the building with Lady. So I'm excited about that. If I had to pick a building for myself, this might be the one I would have chosen because I like walking past Lady. She makes me happy. Dogs are my favorite. So excited about that. Let's go ahead and take a look at our room. All right. So we are on the 3rd floor. And these rooms sleep up to 4 adults. Let's go ahead and look at the curtains. You've got a little silhouette of Mickey and a little, oh boy. My best Mickey impression.
It's
not,
oh boy. It's not a bad Mickey.
I don't know that I can do better than that, but
I would rest on that one. It's not bad though.
Okay, so then you've got your little galley, I think is what these are called. So you've got your coffee maker. You don't get a Keurig at the value resorts, but you do get a Cuisinart. You've got some cups. You have an ice bucket with your bag if you want to go get some ice. And then you have a drawer. So if you want to throw anything in there, it's a little space there. If you've got some stuff you need to store. You've got your mini fridge. And then if you come over here, this is going to be a desk or table that you can eat at or work or make use of if you only have 1 or 2 people in your room. But if you have more than that, you're going to need to use this bed. So this is a Murphy bed that you pull down. I'm not going to pull it down right now because I will no doubt mess that up on camera and embarrass myself. So, but I have used it when we've been here with more than 2 people. It's about the same comfort level as your regular mattress.
So I'm gonna go ahead and sit on this. Slightly firmer than Brandon probably likes, but it's doable. It's not uncomfortable. And then an abundance of pillows. So I think with just 2 of us, we've got 6 pillows. That's more than enough. If you've got more than 2 people, you may want to ask the front desk for some extra pillows, because I know we like to use like 2 each. So, all right, so over here you've got your, I don't know what you want to call this, storage. You've got a safe, you've got shelf space here, and then over here you've got some drawers to store some clothes. So if you want to unpack, you've got a little bit of space to unpack. Most of the beds in Disney now, you can slide luggage under them, so they're elevated. That's helpful, especially if you have more than 2 people in a room, because the space in the value resorts is just a little less square footage than any of the other resorts on property. So they're going to be your lowest square footage rooms. So utilizing that under the bed space is helpful. I will give 2 thumbs up to Pop Century, because they have a small nightstand on both sides of the bed. So when Brandon and I are staying at hotels where there is only one side that has a place where we can charge our phones, sometimes we have a little bit of a battle on which one of us is going to get that side of the bed. So when there's 2, we don't have to worry about that. We both get one, we get along, we're happy. So definitely a plus for the Pop Century room having one on each side. Okay, so coming into the bathroom area. Oh, Brandon, it looks like he's focusing on your, I don't know, coat rack. Yeah, so I like to hang my little lounge flies on those. That's a nice thing to have. Back up for just a second. I want to show how this door slides closed. So if you're using the bathroom area, you can have some privacy. Over here, you've got more shelf space. You've got space to hang clothing if you want to hang something. Ironing board over here that comes out of the wall or hangs on the wall. And then you've got your vanity. So you've got space here. You've got a hair dryer. It's nice because I don't like to pack my hair dryer. There's no way I would ever be able to reach that shelf up there, but there's some people that might be able to use that. Maybe Brandon. He's a lot taller than I am. You've got more shelving, a lot of counter space here, but the reason you have so much counter space is because you don't have 2 sinks, only one. I don't always love to share, so I like having 2, but for a value room, you're only going to get 1 sink. Nice big large mirror. They do have, looks like a steamer, an iron, and then more shelf space if you want to have a place to put your bathroom items, and then under here some space as well. You get the mirror that, these are nice, especially if you put on makeup. These are really nice to have. I will say sometimes they're a little high for me. Like I got to get on my tiptoes to put my makeup on, be able to use it. So tip for Disney, maybe lower them just a little. And then you've got your toilet area. So the throne, and it is in its separate space from where you brush your teeth, which I always prefer that. The door does close off, but it is in the same room as the shower. And then the shower is just your combo shower tub. Very clean. You've got your toiletries, I don't know, body wash, conditioner, shampoo, what you normally get. Notice you don't really get the extras that you can take home with you at the value resorts, but you can use them in the shower. So I think that about wraps up this room tour. Perfectly good
room for a value resort. They're going to be your lower priced. And at Pop Century, you get the Skyliner access too. So for just a little bit over what the All-Stars are and Skyliner access, this is a pretty good room.
And now for our final thoughts. If you're on a budget and want the best location and transportation you could get for the price, Pop Century makes a lot of sense. It's especially great for families. Our own kids have stayed at plenty of deluxe resorts, and Pop is still one of their favorites. The theming is fun and vibrant. The food court is big and convenient if you're mostly eating in the parks, and having the Skyliner is a huge advantage. Being able to get to EPCOT and Hollywood Studios quickly or even hop over to other resorts really changes how a Disney trip feels. That said, this isn't a luxury stay. The rooms are clean and simple, but they are on the smaller side. If you're looking for quiet, romantic, or upscale vibes, or if you plan to spend a lot of time hanging around the resort, Pop probably isn't the right fit. For us, we often choose Pop over moderates that are priced just a bit higher because it's on the Skyliner. And if Pop is available, we almost always choose it over the All-Stars because the location and transportation are significantly better. We also tend to choose it over Art of Animation's Little Mermaid rooms because you can often get a preferred room at Pop for less than a standard mermaid room without giving up location or convenience. So no, Pop Century isn't the right resort for every trip. But if you care more about location, transportation, and value than luxury, this is one of the easiest yeses on Disney property. And in the famous words of Neil Armstrong, that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. But unlike our astronauts, you don't have to leave Earth to have a travel experience that's out of this world. So keep traveling, and we'll see you next time.